Amen. Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Rickenbacker. One of the things I want to do right now is to make sure that everyone knows who our tech team is. So we're going to add them to our spotlight. Why can't I add Keith? Give me one sec. Keith. I won't let me add Keith. So
he has to put his picture up.
Oh, he has to put, okay. All right, so his picture's not up. Okay, so we have a great tech team here for Empire that we share a lot of responsibility with each other. We have Dr. Chanel Turpin, we have Zeroa Alex, we have Keith Boone, Lori Tate, who's not on as of yet. We have Jay Parrish Wright from United. He is working on tonight, and Shandul Washington, who's not on yet as either. So we have a great tech team that we are here to serve the churches here in Empire, and we're grateful to our president, Dr. Carl Washington, for allowing us to be able to serve on this team and to serve you, Empire. And we also are thankful to President Washington for allowing us to be able to have this session, for seeing the need of having this technology summit, especially in this time that we're in with this pandemic that we've been going through. We've been in this thing for a year, y'all. It's been a year. Can you believe it? And then there was so many churches that were so unprepared for this time, and some that were kind of prepared, and were able to maneuver, and some that are still struggling. And so it is our prayer that we are able to be a support to our churches in Empire. And the first two sessions that we have were great sessions with Dr. Daniel Blackburn and Bishop Andy C. Luter Jr. And they gave a lot of great information. And for those, everyone should have gotten the links for those two videos for those first two sessions. And after this session is over, we'll send out the video for this session as well. So I just wanted to say thank you all for coming and sharing with us on tonight and the past 2 weeks that we had for the session, and that this is not the last time that we will come together and be able to share information with you all. We have the Congress of Christian Education that is coming up April 6th through the 8th. And one of the classes that will be taught during that session is Computers in the Life of the Church. And I will be stepping in for Dr. Chanel Turpin. She was supposed to teach that class, but because of circumstances, she would not be able to teach. So I'm going to teach that class during that week and the other 2 Mondays that the dean has scheduled for that class to happen. So if you want to learn even more on a broad range of topics, you can register with the Congress of Christian Education and sign up for that class as well. And also coming up, we don't have a date for it as yet, but one of the next classes that this team will be presenting will be a PowerPoint class, and which is so
Mm.
very needed. So we're going to be doing these classes as we go along, and hopefully that it will be a help to you all. So on tonight, I don't want to swing on the gate, too long with a lot of comments. We have our team that is going to be presenting on tonight. And we're going to start off with Dr. Chanel Turpin, and she's going to talk about Zoom, which is the platform that we're on. Many of us get on, but we don't know how to really use Zoom. We don't know how to use all the features that are there. There are a lot of tricks and tips that you could use for Zoom, and so we're going to turn it over to her for her presentation, and then we're going to move on from that point on. So we're going to turn to Dr. Chanel Turpin.
Amen. Good evening, everyone. Certainly to our president, Dr. Washington, and to our chair lady of the tech team and my boss, Sister Brenda K. Foreman, and to the rest of the tech team that's here, and to all of you on this evening. It is certainly a blessing to be before you on tonight. Without further ado, we are going to get into talking more about Zoom. I know many of us aren't at the same level, same place, or same pace when it comes to technology. So if you don't mind, we're gonna go a little slow, and then we're gonna speed up a little bit. So make sure that we're all in the same place. I know we're all from different cities, all from different associations, attend different churches, but one thing we all have in common tonight is we all have Zoom, because Zoom is the platform that we are on. So we are going to be talking about Zoom because we are all somewhat familiar with this platform. And we've had to use Zoom for our meetings, our Bible studies, our Sunday schools, and even some of our Sunday services. So it's our hope that you'll be able to better effectively utilize this platform, so you can do some more work in in your ministry with some of these tips and tricks. Most of you have been met as soon as you signed on to Zoom with this screen. This is your sign-on screen. And it will typically say to sign in, to join a meeting, to start a meeting, to join a meeting, to schedule a meeting, or to share your screen. But one of the things I want you to pay attention to is this right up here.
Those 4 boxes we saw. Okay.
I'm sorry. Sorry, if you hear my dog is going to bark. This is the right up at the top. You have to check to make sure all of your Zooms are up to date. If there is a new version available, the Zoom will let you know. If you are having trouble, if you are having difficulties, if features are not working within your Zoom, then you should check to see if your Zoom needs an update. And the way to do that, you can see right there, is to go where your profile information is, to click on that, and you will get a drop-down menu. Within that drop-down menu, you would select check for updates, and then your Zoom will check for updates. Amen. Once your Zoom checks for updates, you can also go, if you are on a Apple device, you will be able to go to, once you are in your Zoom, go to your zoom.us, click on that, and it'll show you right here, check for updates. This is an alternate way in which you can check for updates. If you are due for an update, you will get this notification, update available. It'll show you what version is available and then the version that you are currently on. As you can see, the new version that is out right now is the 5.6. And the version that I had, this was on last night, was 5.5. And then it lists all of the features that the update will give you. You click update, and then you will get the notification that says to install. You want to install. It will go through the installation process. Click continue. Install. It goes through the installation process. You are going to have to enter in your device's password to install the software on your device, which you can see I have done. And then once it installs, you will get the notification that your installation was successful, and then your Zoom application will be up to date. Then you will have to reopen the Zoom application. Most of you have used this, but today you had a link. If you are signing in for your Zoom meeting, if it is a meeting that is recurring, this little down pointing arrow, just so that you know, it holds all of your previous meetings. If you have forgotten your meeting ID, that very long number, all you have to do is hit that little down arrow and it will give you the list of all of your previous meetings. So that if you have forgotten it, no worries, Zoom has stored that in its memory. This is what your home screen looks like. I told you I'm gonna move at this slow pace because I know all of us are not in the same place. Your home screen should look like this if you are on a computer screen. If you are on a mobile device, it looks something like this, where all of your icons are at the top. If you are on a cell phone, your icons will be at the bottom. Many people have an issue finding the icons because their screen will blank out. And the way to fix that is all you have to do is touch the screen if you're using a mobile device. For the chat feature, I think many of us are pretty familiar with that. The chat function, for those who are on a computer, you will find that next to the bright green share screen button. Those of us who are on mobile devices, you would have to look at where the icons are at the top of your device and go to the 3 dots where it says more. Click on those 3 dots and you will get a drop-down menu that looks something like that. Now within this drop-down menu, you will get a list of a whole bunch of different functions where you are able. Zoom now gives you the opportunity to show all kinds of reactions. I'm sorry, I hit my button by accident. All kinds of reactions in addition to just utilizing the chat. So if you don't need to unmute yourself, you are able to use the reactions button, and that is also within on the screen for your computer. So you don't have to unmute yourself. You can use the thumbs up, you can use the heart, you can use the laughing, the celebration, the wow, or the clapping, the yes, the no, the slow down, or the speed up to talk to the person who is lecturing at the time, and they will hopefully understand what you're saying. And that is one of Zoom's newer features, adding in all of those reactions. As you can see, also this is where your virtual background button is. Also for the those who are on cell phones, those icons and that menu will be found on the lower part of your device. And this is an example of what your chat looks like on a mobile device. And if you were sending a message to everyone, that means everyone can see your message. You are able to send messages directly to the person who is hosting, or send direct messages to people within the Zoom meeting. Sorry, my mouse is very sensitive. For virtual backgrounds, this is typically the questions that people have. How do I put up those backgrounds? This is how you do it. You go to where your video camera is. Your video camera, for those on a computer screen or sitting at a laptop or at a computer, go to the lower left-hand corner where your video camera is, and you click on the little pointing up arrow. And if you click on the little arrow that is next to your video camera, you will get the menu that is on your screen right now, where it says select a camera, choose virtual background, choose video filter or video settings, and you want to choose virtual background. Now, keep in mind, virtual backgrounds are only available on Zoom for devices, for computers that have an i5 processor or better. Now, I know many people don't know what that means, but an i5 it just means it has to be compatible with Zoom. So if it's an i3, it can be an expensive MacBook, but if it's only an i3, it won't be able to have a virtual background. So it has to have an i5 processor or better. So you choose virtual background. And once you select choose virtual background, this is what you are going to see. Sorry for my lack of smile. I was trying to keep a straight face and not make silly faces. So it'll show you a picture of yourself so that you can see, and then it gives you stock pictures for your virtual background, and then you are able to add in virtual backgrounds. As you can see, there is a plus sign right next to, or right underneath my picture. And with that plus sign, you can add in your own pictures, because that birthday cake and the Patriots picture and the picture of Michael Jackson, I added that in. Zoom didn't do that for me. I had to do that for myself. So you are able to add in and personalize your virtual backgrounds to make them fit your personality, or to make them fit the occasion or the meeting or the service or the Bible study that you are holding for that time. The virtual backgrounds are definitely fun to do, and not only are virtual backgrounds so good, but the other feature that Zoom has added into their program is the use of video filters. Now, video filters is something that I already showed you this. And this is how you would find it, on the mobile device. If you were to click on your that drop-down menu, this is what it would look like on your mobile device. It looks a little different. I wanted to go to video filters, but I will go in the order that is on my PowerPoint. The sharing your screen. Sharing your screen for Zoom can be a little complicated, but not so complicated. All you have to do is find the share screen button. It is the brightest button in the program. So it's easy to find, and you can do a lot when it comes to sharing your screen. Sharing your screen is so much more than just sharing what's on the screen, but it's sharing content. You are not only sharing what you're looking at, but for your meetings with your trustees, they can be sharing the financial report. You can be sharing your scriptures for your Bible studies. You can be sharing your screen when it comes to your Sunday services, and when it's time for your service to begin. If it's not beginning just yet and you want to have a countdown, you can share your screen and have a countdown playing before your service actually begins. So all of those things you are able to do with your share screen, and not just sharing your actual screen, but you can share the sound that comes from your device. So when it comes to sharing your screen, you can share music. You can be in a meeting or in a prayer meeting with your congregation. And if you know the Spirit is moving and you want to play I Surrender All, you can just be sharing the music from your device, just so that it helps to minister to the people that you are ministering to at that time. But they can still see you, you can still see them, and all anyone hears is the music, and all that is done through sharing your screen. So you would hit the share screen button, and anytime you have a anything that's open on your laptop or your computer, and that will show in the windows. So you would go to, there's your basic option, and then there's your advanced option, and you have your files option. Under basic, you get whiteboard. You can attach it to an iPhone or an iPad through AirPlay, or to an iPhone or iPad via a cable. And then any window that you have open on your computer, you can have a YouTube video playing. You can have, as I said, any internet window or something that is saved on your computer. If you are playing a video where it says share sound, which is something I forget to do often because nobody is perfect, make sure you click share sound if you want people to hear the video or whatever you are playing. Under advanced, Bishop Luter mentioned this very briefly on last week. If you are showing a PowerPoint during your Bible study, or even during your sermon, and you want everyone to see the points that you are making while you're preaching, Zoom has added that you can make your PowerPoint your virtual background. And this is where you go to do it. So after you hit share screen, you hit advanced, and then you select slides as virtual background. After you select slides as virtual background, it's just going to take you to your files, and then you just have to select your PowerPoint. And then your PowerPoint becomes your virtual background. And this is also where you would select where you wanted to make your music or share your sound from your computer, or if you wanted to connect a camera or just share a portion of your screen. You can also share files from virtual cloud storage. All of that, I don't use this option very often, but it is available to you. Now, for those of us who have people who still call into Zoom, and we know we do, it can get very difficult for our seniors who are navigating, calling into Zoom and having to remember all of those numbers and the passcodes with the meeting ID, and then the passcode. It can be way too much. So there is a way to eliminate the passcode for your seniors. All you have to do is go to zoom.us when you are hosting a meeting. Go to zoom.us through your web browser. And when I say web browser, that means wherever you go to search the internet, whether that be Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Safari, those are web browsers. So you type in zoom.us and it'll take you to the Zoom homepage. And then over here, you click on My Account or Sign In. And once you sign in, you click on My Account. That will bring you to this page. Once you get to this page, you want to click on Settings. And then that will bring you to this page. And here you can see, you can change your settings for your waiting room or your meeting passcode. And Zoom has made it so that you can eliminate requiring a passcode for participants joining by phone and just uncheck that. So now those persons who are joining your Zoom meetings by phone do not have to put in the passcode. All they have to put in is the meeting ID. So there's not so many numbers for our senior saints to have to remember, because it can get confusing and frustrating for our older generation who have not yet made the transition onto Zoom or to the internet. And you can also embed your passcode link, your passcode into the link that that you send to people, so that when they click the link, as many of you did, you didn't have to put in a passcode to get into the meeting. And that is why, because the passcode is embedded into the link. All those things are found within your settings. And this is what I started talking about before. Video filters. I'm sorry, I misplaced it on my PowerPoint. Video filters. These are very cool for your young people. If you are doing your Sunday schools or your youth Bible studies, this is something that you can use to keep your young people engaged and entertained. Young people love filters. They love Snapchat. So if you want to get them into your class, use the video filters. I'm telling you, they're fun. Yes, you'll look like a fool, but it'll be for Christ. And only what you do for Christ will last. And there's so many great things that you can do with the video filters. You might even have fun with it yourself. The video filters and also the studio effects. If you look down where that little blue highlight is, down on the lower right-hand corner, it has studio effects. It allows you to put makeup on. It'll put makeup on for you. You can make your lips green. You can make your lips red or blue. And for the men, you can, give yourself a mustache. Or ladies, you can do your eyebrows, get the perfect eyebrows going. You can do all of that. It's a great way to keep your young people entertained, or even yourself. So, I mean, I could go on with a few more things. I do have a couple more things. I don't know how much more. I think I've taken too much time already. There's a couple more things that you can do with Zoom when it comes to other platforms. and I don't want to get too technical for that. I know someone is going to be coming behind me to talk about vMix, and vMix is another streaming software, but you can add a Zoom call into vMix. So those of you who are using vMix, please know that you are able to add a Zoom call into vMix. That you are able to add a Zoom call into vMix if you go into, I don't know if you know what those, I'm sure they're going to tell you, but this is what the vMix interface looks like. So if you go into the add input, there it is, thank you. If you go into the add input, you would go to where it says NDI and select your select Zoom. Of course, your Zoom would already have to be open. You would select Zoom, and then after you select Zoom, it's kind of a complicated, you know, back and forth type thing. After you select Zoom, you're going to get a blank screen because you're not going to see your screen capture right away. Because then you're going to have to go into Zoom and select the vMix camera. So you go into vMix, add input, then to NDI and select Zoom. You're going to get a blank screen, and that is because you have to go now into Zoom and select and change your camera from your device's camera to the vMix camera, and then come back into vMix. And down here where it says next to your, and this is for people who are using vMix. Those of you who aren't using vMix, y'all can, you know, just ignore what I'm saying. Between where it's next to where it says record is your external icon. You would hit external, and there you would be able to see the output for your Zoom call, your Zoom meeting being brought into your vMix program. I would have more to say about that, but someone else is going to be coming behind me to talk about vMix. And OBS, I know that was mentioned in one of our previous sessions. Someone had a question about OBS. OBS means Open Broadcaster Software. OBS is free, but OBS can be very complicated, but it is completely customizable and you can use it on all platforms. I use OBS, and if you want to try OBS, you can download OBS at obsproject.com. obsproject.com. It works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's more customizable with Windows than it is with Mac, sadly. So that is my time. I thank you so much for your time, and I turn it back over to the boss.
Okay. Give me one sec. Okay, we thank Dr. Chanel for tonight. Can I get the team to manage the spotlight for me? Okay, we had a couple of questions, Dr. Chanel. one was, can you show what a filter would look like to demonstrate the filter?
Sure. I think one of my favorite ones, my favorite. Okay, this is my favorite. This is what everybody's wearing now. Or, you know, the lollipops. They have all kinds of filters.
Okay, as you can see, that the filters are something that our young people use all the time. If you're ever on Facebook, you will see them using filters all of the time for different things. I think some of them that I see that they don't do anything but use filters, but it's something that they do use, as Dr. Chanel has stated, that it engages with them and it gives them, you know, something to do on the Zoom while they're on there. Okay. And another question that was asked was, how do you set up a Zoom meeting? Did you show that?
Oh, okay, hold on, let me go back to that slide.
And also, there's a question about sending an invite from Zoom.
Okay. Okay. The to start a meeting or to host a meeting?
Uh, to schedule a meeting, to host it.
Oh, to schedule a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are looking to schedule a meeting, this this screen right here, this is your friend. The home, Zoom's home screen, it gives you the button to schedule. It'll take you through the scheduling process. The other way in which you can schedule a meeting is to go through your web browser. Like I stated before, zoom.us. And again, your web browser is however you search the internet. That's Safari, Google Chrome, or Internet Explorer. And you type in the URL zoom.us, and it'll bring you to Zoom's landing page. And on that page, you would sign in where it'll say sign in on the upper right-hand corner. And after you sign in, it'll give you the option to host, to schedule, or join a meeting. And you can schedule a meeting right there. You can choose, you have your choice to do all of that right there on the internet, or through the app that you have downloaded on your device, if it's a mobile device, or even if it's on your laptop or your computer, and you get this landing page right here.
Okay, I think we have two more questions. Um, One is how do you set your background to just have a background or a picture uh, on it? And I think you do that through the profile settings.
Oh, you mean for the,
I mean, just have a picture up.
oh, to just have a picture? Yes. Well, see, the boss answered that question. You do that. You do that through your profile, and your for those of you who don't know, I'll show it again. Your profile is this right here, up in the upper right hand corner. If you're on your mobile device, you would go to Zoom and you would hit settings. You can change that or add a picture there through settings.
Okay. And the last question is what if you hit the advanced button on share screen and it does not illuminate beta box?
Oh, well, then you go right back to the beginning of the slideshow and check for updates for your
Okay.
Zoom.
Okay. And I think that that's it. We thank Dr. Chanel for her presentation on Zoom. We'll come back at the end if there are any questions that we missed for that. Like I said, we have a couple of other of our tech team that are going to present for this evening. And the next one is going to be our Zarua Alex, and she's going to talk about the live, Be Live, which is one of the live streaming platforms.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm just going to get right into my presentation. Let me share my screen. I don't know why it's not letting me share. Miss Brenda, it's not letting me share my screen.
Okay, you're a co-host. Okay, so you can see even we
You
as
can see
techs
it?
have technical difficulties.
Okay, wait.
There you
All
go.
right, there we go. Okay, so I am going to be presenting Be Live. I put it in a very simplified version because this is just another platform that can be used kind of in your toolbox of streaming. Certain streaming platforms are good for certain things. So we are going to talk about Be Live. Okay, so Be Live is a live streaming solution that helps stream videos and engage audience on a unifying platform. I would say that the biggest difference about Be Live, and I would say like something like Zoom, is it is already integrated with things like Facebook, LinkedIn, and also YouTube. So you can also go on two platforms at one time. So you can be on the Be Live platform, but also engaging with your Facebook friends or whatever page that you're on from that. So what do you need to get started? The first thing, you would either need a Facebook account or a Google account. You can have either or. I personally would suggest the Facebook account just because if you already have at your churches, or whatever you're working with, If you all have a Facebook account and you integrate that with the Be Live platform, like I said, that integrates both of those pages together. But if you do have a Google account, just like a regular Gmail, you can start off with that. So you don't need too much as far as like interfacing goes. Setting up your Be Live account is short and simple. The process was very easy for me. They do have a free trial, like a free version, and we'll go over that. It requires very basic information to sign up. And also just remember that only one account is necessary. I know some people have different like Zoom accounts and stuff like that. It doesn't work like that with Be Live. You have to have one account, so only one person can get on the account at one time. So if it was a church, I would suggest putting it under the church's name or under the ministry's name so that it can be kind of seamless. Okay, what equipment will I need? A desktop or laptop is all that you need to go live on the streaming platform. Be Live does not support starting a stream from a mobile device or tablet. So I would think that that would be one of the cons about this program, is that you aren't able to do that. So that's just like a preference, I would say. It may not affect you know, those who do have devices, but if people are calling in or something like that, they wouldn't really have access to this. You do need to have an actual computer if you are going to be streaming yourself. Now, if you want to watch it, you can watch it on your cell phone. Just if you are going to be going live, you can't go live on the actual device. Headphones are also recommended to cut out the background noises from the audience, but this is not a requirement. I suggested just because you always hear background noises, so maybe some Bluetooth or just like an earpiece or something like that. And laptops and desktops provide the best experience while using Be Live. So once again, you don't need that many, you know, products to start. So these are the different pricing plans. We have the basic free plan, and that has the Be Live branding on it. So when you do stream, you will see that Be Live on the top, and it is noticeable. You can only stream up to 3 shows per month. So once again, if you wanted to maybe let's say have a summit or a conference or something, maybe Be Live would be the platform for you if you wanted to start that off. Another good thing I like about Be Live is that you're able to do the side-by-side live stream, which I think is very, very interesting. I was first introduced to this program when my dad, Pastor Alex, he actually was invited to another church, and this was during quarantine and people had to get creative. So, you know, they were able to be on screen together, but it's like side by side. So it's kind of like how Zoom is, but I know that, you know, you either see it on the side or in the corner, but this would be side by side together. You're able to see 2 people talking and interacting, which is pretty cool. They also have a video editor as well. So if you want to edit your video or your stream or stuff like that, you are not able to custom brand with the free option. Now there's 2 price points, the $24.99 and then the $37.50, which is still very comparable to a lot of the price points that are out there. So I would say that it is worth the price if you do have, you know, the funds to go with the standard. I would say start off with that. That has unlimited streaming. You have custom branding, so you can put your church's name, you can put the conference name, you can put whatever name on there. Also multi-streaming. So what happens is you're able to go on live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time simultaneously. A lot of platforms don't have that capability. So I think that that's very cool. And a lot of people don't really know about the features of YouTube, but YouTube can actually be monetized. So I like that you're able to kind of stream on 2 different sites at the same time. So Facebook users can see it, and then also the YouTube users can see it. And that's a way to kind of generate extra income as well. Also, they have a live sales portion, which I thought was very cool. What it allows you to do is set up different products, And let's just say, you know, you wanted to do a fundraising, or you wanted to do a silent auction, or you wanted to do different events like that that are kind of outside the box, but you're actually gaining funds from that. You can set your account up where you can have a silent auction for the women's ministry, and you're able to get those funds and proceeds, and it goes right into whatever account that you put in. So I kind of like that option as well. 4 on-screen participants are allowed. So just like how we see like the spotlight in the beginning with the tech team, you're able to see all 4 people, and they're all able to talk simultaneously as well. Now, only 2 audio, you can only hear 2 people at one time. So the other 2 would kind of be like muted. Everybody can't talk at the same time. And then the Pro option gives you the full HD 1080p quality, which is very good quality, especially if you're going to be uploading to YouTube. You want the best quality. Multi-camera, which is multiple cameras can go at one time. You can also have 8 hours of recording. You get priority support. BeLive does have a support option, like a tech support that you can call in, an email support, and they're pretty like on top of that. And that, even if you have a free account, you can always call them and they'll answer any questions. You also get unlimited storage with the Pro, so that you're not wasting a lot of your computer storage, and you can save it onto the cloud. Okay, so I'm sorry. BeLive cool features. So BeLive supports simulcast, which will stream to 2 different destinations, Facebook and YouTube, like I said. These are just some, you know, features that I found that would be interesting. BeLive supports offline recording, which allows you to record a broadcast without going live. So I was thinking like maybe if you had a morning prayer in the morning and you wanted to pre-record that and then put that on there where you're not looking for any interaction, but just putting a message out there, or maybe a pre-recorded, you know, morning message or afternoon message, you can do that. BeLive supports scheduling a simulcast broadcast, which allows you to schedule a live stream up to 7 days in advance. I think that is pretty cool, just because you're able to kind of schedule all of your broadcasting just as in Zoom, and then also send that link out. So once you're scheduling it, it will automatically create a shareable link that you're able to share on your Facebook page. Will ultimately gain more audience, gain more people, so that when they're sharing that, you know, it becomes more, and you can get more people to come to your events or church services or whatever. BeLive supports adding up to 4 guests at a time, as I previously stated, with 2 guests able to speak at a time. Great for a concert, special guest, speaker, or maybe a panel. BeLive also supports share screen of guests, where those guests can share the screen of their computer to the streaming audience. Great for a class. Similar features just like Zoom. BeLive also supports giving viewers the capability to share the live stream on Facebook. This will help with the views and reaching an extended audience. And then BeLive also allows you to go live on Facebook, where you can show people's comments on the Facebook live screens on the right. So when you're going live on the actual platform, you can opt in to show different Facebook comments. It won't automatically show all the comments, but it also kind of brings everybody together, Facebook and BeLive, so that if they have comments or if they want to say something, it doesn't feel like everybody's on a different platform. It kind of gives that unity feeling. I already talked about you having the capability to have a link to share the broadcast once the stream has been scheduled. Now, it does not support recording, but the video can be downloaded to Facebook. To me, that would be like another downside to the program, but it's a workaround. I wouldn't suggest that BeLive is something that I would use every single Sunday or something. I would mostly do it for special events, and you are able to save different links. So if you pull up, let's say, the Facebook BeLive link, you can, you know, Google different sites that are MP4 download players that you just like put in the link, and they'll give you a download to the file so you can save it to your computer. But if you don't have anybody that's tech savvy, that's a little a con of the program. All right, so I am a visual learner and I am all about doing things that I can kind of show you. So we are going to kind of try it out. They have a interactive function. Let me just see. Okay. All right, so we are going to try it out. So this is something that you can do right from home. It's Be Live. If you Google Be Live, you can play with it yourself live as well if you want to start with me. I don't know if it's going to connect to my camera. Probably. Okay. All right. So as you can see down here, this is, if I were to be going live, this is how it would look. And this is the preview. Now, if you wanted to add a guest, it gives me this link. So now I can share it and then that guest can join. Now it says that Safari does not support screen sharing, but if you have a PC or like anything other than a Apple product, you will be able to share your screen. So if you were going to be getting a desktop or a laptop, you want to ensure that it is a PC or anything but an Apple. Now, if you wanted to upload things, you can upload them, and then you can also share it on YouTube and then on Facebook. The live sales feature is what I was saying, how you can create different lists. So if I wanted to create something, I can put a name, a price, description, and an item link. Now you can get very creative with this. You know, I know this is more so geared to like actual retail sales, but you can create links to there's different, like, you know, if it was your Cash App or the different financial, you know, links. If you wanted to say, hey, such and such, this pastor has a Cash App, here's his Cash App. Okay, now everybody can click on that link and they can send whatever, which I think is good because a lot of the streaming platforms don't have an opportunity for you to monetize or, you know, do that. There's different widgets. So you can have like a countdown. There's different sticky notes. There's a thermometer. There's also a ability to have an on-screen agenda that shows people what the agenda would be like. If you wanted to have a question and answer, there's different templates for that. And they have everything in template format. So, you know, if you didn't know what to put or whatever, it kind of shows you what you could do. And this is all on the screen. Now, this is how the screen would look if you were going live. Like people wouldn't be able to see this. These are just the features on the side. Also the branding, if you wanted to put the logo, if you wanted to do a background, if you wanted to have different themes, you can do that. So if you wanted to put the church's logo, you would do that and you can see it right there. Also, there is a public chat on the right-hand side. And as I stated, you can also, as the host, make it so that other people from Facebook can also interact with you as well. And then there is a host chat, which I think is very important because when you are hosting a meeting, a lot of times you're going back and forth with the other presenters or whatever and asking them questions. So you're able to kind of do that on the side, you know. So that is pretty much about it when it comes to that. Let's go back to the presentation. All right, so my favorite feature is the on-screen text feature. I went through all the features and tried to figure out what will be the most, you know, thing that I would love about, you know, this platform. And I love that you have the capability to kind of have like how the news has it on the bottom, like a rolling, you know, scroll text of information, which I think is very interesting. I know that Zoom and all the other platforms, they have the ability to do it on the background, but maybe having a rolling text of maybe a phone number to call, like a prayer line or different upcoming events or something like that, then everybody's able to see that. I thought that that was pretty cool. So it highlights important information and achieve better stream flow using on-screen updates. On-screen updates allows you to add text to your broadcast to highlight a topic, ask a question, and to display important information to your audience. Outline your discussion topics, allowing you to maintain focus on your broadcast. And you can also add private notes that you can see as well. So you can have notes on the bottom of your screen that you can only see. So for pastors, if you want to put, your notes, your scripture notes, or different little, things that you want to put, you can put that and only you would be able to see. And thank you all. Do you all have any questions?
Okay, I think I answered most of them that were in the chat already as you were going, but if anyone else has any questions for Zarua. Okay, so we thank you for your presentation.
One question.
Oh, we have a question? Go ahead.
I was asking about if only two people can speak out of the four. Do they just stop and the other people just come in and start talking? Is there a way of them being shuffled in, or does they just engage in conversation? Is this open conversation?
Well, it would be as if two people are talking at the same time, the computer will recognize, okay, these two people are the ones talking. So usually I would suggest that the other presenters maybe mute themselves and there just be a clear expectation that only two people can talk at one time. I feel like when a lot of people talk at one time, it really doesn't, like it's hard for you to hear, you know what I'm saying? So it's better for only two people to communicate back and forth because you don't want to have a lot of background noise and stuff like that. So everybody's still able to talk. You just, you have to wait your turn.
Respectful. Okay, got you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much for the presentation on Be Live. This is one of the platform, and there are so many out there, and we're going to go over some of them. But before I go into the other platforms that are available out there, I won't be going into them in great depth as they did, but because there's so many of them. But I want you to be aware of some of them that are out there that are available to us. So in all of our doing, whether we're on Zoom or whether we're on another online meeting platform or doing live streaming or whatever we're doing through the internet, we need to be able, um, someone's asked about StreamYard. I'm going to go over some of the other platforms in just a couple of moments. But before we do that, we want to make sure that you have security. Um, I'm not surprised. Our team is not surprised, but some people may be surprised that there are people that have no internet security whatsoever and wonder why they're always being hacked or wonder why their computer is always malfunctioning. And so we're going to have our brother Keith Boone to come on and to share with us about uh, internet security.
Everybody hear me? Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, all right. So I'll be trying to do some security. It's as Sister Foreman said, it's one of the things that with everything that's going on since the pandemic, it's definitely 100% one of those things that gets lost. And for those of you who look at my picture, yes, those are my belts. Yes, I have them in my house, and yes, I bought them. So I want to try. It's a lot of things that I'll be presenting and showing you. There'll be some terms that maybe some of you understand that I don't. What I'm basically doing is just hitting on just some basic points, only because going fully in depth would suck up this meeting and probably 3 or 4 different ones after that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and hold up. Let me share my screen first and then start the presentation. Okay. So that's me. I'm from Antioch and Hempstead, from Eastern Baptist Association. Real quick on my background, I have a degree in MIS. I more or less have done a lot of troubleshooting. I've worked for different type of support desks. I help friends and family with their computers and some of their issues. And I just try and make everything that gets done kind of cool. As far as a technician goes, for me being a techie, I 100% hate computers. Well, I don't hate, but I prefer writing on pads and pens as opposed to sitting in front of my laptop. But that's just me. So I want to get started. So I know that in our first session, Reverend Blackburn had mentioned some equipment that 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 you guys would use for, you know, doing live streaming. That's all good. That equipment is 100% used in live streaming. But in order to get to that, he did mention that, you know, it needs to be hardwired, and it's different when you have to, as opposed to doing, you know, over Wi-Fi. So some of these relate to that. So the first thing I have on the network equipment, this is just basic stuff. It's a lot. What I'm presenting is a really 100% watered down version of what is needed. So a lot of you might have one computer in your house, or you might have two, or whatever. Most networking equipment, they have hubs, which is basically no logic. No logic means that if you plug it in, nothing keeps it, you know, the signal from going in and out. There's no rhyme or reason. Anything can go past back and forth. No different than plugging in, say, like a what is it? A network hub, power strip. That's what I was trying to think of, a power strip. So once you plug the power strip in, you can plug many devices into it. It's the same thing with a hub with no logic. A router, on the other hand, there are several different routers, brand names. Some of them are Wi-Fi, which is a lot. You see, some of them have the little rabbit ears or antennas, and some of them do, but that are Wi-Fi and they don't. You know, some routers, you know, the brand names are like Linksys, Netgear, Cisco, or recently is TP-Link. They're not that expensive. You know, if you're at home, you can get away with a good router for, you know, no more than like $100. Anything over that is really not a need if you're at home. Churches are different. It's how the sanctuary is. What do you want to do? And that's why I was saying that it's a lot as far as networking and trying to get everything to go. On the network equipment, if you decided to get some of this stuff yourself, I put just a little note. So when you see and you pick it up and you look on it, you'll see something that says 10/100/1000. So when these first came out, they were 10/100. So basically that means that the speed back and forth, which something that Reverend Blackburn talked about in the first session, as far as gigabit and speed and everything like that. So if you don't know what speeds you're coming in, it's something that you need to ask your provider coming in. A lot of companies right now, the fastest they're bringing in is a gigabit. So if you get a device that says 10/100 on it and you have a gigabit coming in, it's going to be slow. No matter how many routers you put on it, it's going to be slow. It has to have the 1000 on it in order for it to be a gigabit router to get the signal in that you're paying for. I learned that the hard way. All of a sudden, I updated my internet to a gigabit speed coming in, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't play. You know, I couldn't play my PS4 and be on every other device in the house, and And I looked at it and I was like, oh, well, this would probably help. So I had to go out and buy another router, even though there was nothing wrong with mine. But in order to get the speed, I had to get the correct router. Some of the stuff that's coming in, I mostly based it on your home, but coming into a church, it's more or less the same thing. A lot of companies, Verizon, or I don't know what's local, they can set you up where they'll provide you the devices to come in if you don't have anyone in your church that can understand the lingo and the logic to get things done for you, things coming in your church. But like I said, this is all basic stuff, and this can be transplanted into what you want your church to be and what you can bring in. Software protection. Let me go back. This is probably one of the things that everyone here needs to understand. Software protection is antivirus. You should never plug in your computer into anything outside of your home unless you have antivirus on it. People will grab your information, they'll pull files from your PC, they'll lock it up. A lot of people I know, they're click happy. I got a link. Someone sent me an email. I don't know who it is. They click on it. Bam, viruses. They call me and I look at it and I say, well, I'm going to wipe it. Because the time I spend, or the time any technician spends on trying to rid your device of, especially with Windows, rid your device of malware or spam or anything like that, anything harmful to your device is a lot of time, effort, and money if you take it to somebody. There are some tools that wipe it. If you plug it in, if you take it to any reputable place, they'll clean your device for you. But to me, it never is clean to me, because there's always going to be something new that's hidden in the background that you just don't see. Some of the software protection I put up there is with Windows, you get a basic Windows security. That comes with it, is free. There's nothing really spectacular about it outside that it might catch some low-level stuff. Other ones are Webroot, Norton, and McAfee. Me personally, I like using Norton. All of these have basic functionality, more or less free if you download it. But in this day and age, the way things are, people getting locked up, I know some of you might have someone that's seen a message saying, oh, you clicked on this thing and something pops up and says, oh, your machine's locked. Call Microsoft, here it is, click on this. Never do that. That is a spam message. The minute you do that and call, someone has your information and it's a wrap. Some of these nowadays, you have to make sure that your PC can handle these, because a lot of stuff that you don't see runs in the background, and what it'll do is it'll clock your memory. If your PC is old, or if it's on under an i5, it run. Reverend Turpin mentioned that, as well as Reverend Blackburn earlier. It's just, if you don't know, you can ask somebody. But a lot of these software protection, they run in the background. So sometimes it'll do a full scan and it'll be at the worst possible moment, and you'll just notice that your PC is running a little bit slow. It's only because it's doing background checks. It's making sure that the website that you went to, didn't pull any malware or anything like that, and to make sure that that your PC is running fine. Some of these applications can be used with Apple IC. I'm a PC person, but they all work the same way as far as keeping everything clean. So this is important, not just in your home, but I know that there are some pastors on here and some trustees and some deacons, and this is very important for your church. Nothing should be plugged into your network at church unless it has, especially if you're doing other people, if you handle other people's money, if you handling sensitive information. You know, sometimes you walk in and you know, that's fine. And you know, they'll have, you know, some people have their own PC and they'll plug it in. And I'm going to get into that in a second after this. But as far as your main equipment, I'm not talking about someone coming in. I'm talking about any device that, whether it's your secretary, whether it's you in your study, whether it's in a deacon's room or a trustee's room, you need to have internet security, software protection on it. And it shouldn't be the free version. That's just me. It should be some type of decent, not halfway decent, where it runs scans, and just in case someone tries to hack your network, and I'm going to get into that in a second also, some of the software will catch it. Because now in the day and age that, look, there's people riding around in cars on a laptop with encryption devices trying to see who they can hack. So, you know, you having a network, you know, God one with the exclamation point isn't going to work anymore. There are some websites where you can go and they'll create passwords for you. So I led up to all that to lead to this, to try and secure your network. So this is very important for the churches. The same goes for when you're at home, but this is 100% very important for your membership and for your churches. So most churches, I believe, and I can see it, they just basically have an open network. What does that mean? That means Verizon or Optimum or whoever came in, plug some wires into your basement or to some location, and you have internet through the entire church. So that means that anyone can walk in, plug in, do whatever they want, because there's no type of security on your network. So I know that a lot of us go to doctors' offices, what's another example, libraries, you know, public institutions like that. And when you walk in behind the counter or somewhere, they'll say public access Wi-Fi password. And then when you try and connect, you might see the same thing, say for like Starbucks, for example. You'll see another Starbucks and it'll have those, you know, the little lines, and it'll have a lock on it, which means that secure network, you're not getting that password. So the first part of this is segmenting your network, public versus private. So when you set this up, and again, most some companies that you do your internet with will come in and set this up. Of course, it's for a price, but you know, if you have anyone in your congregation that can understand this, they can set it up for you. I understand it enough to set it up and more or less tinker with it, because I've done it enough. I can do it probably like 60-70% off the top of my head. So segmenting your network public means that I walked into your church and I have my iPad, or I might have my phone. So I want to connect to your public, and I look and I see, and it says, I'll just use, it says Antioch, and it's wide open. So you connect to it, it's no problem. The problem is if that's your only network in the sanctuary, that's the problem. So if you have other church devices, meaning something that holds personal records, it should not be on the same network as someone that can walk into your church and connect to. That network should either be private, but have the little lines with the lock on it, or it could be not seen at all. Sometimes, like I'll tinker with it. I have at home, I have a hidden network, and it's hidden, but my devices connect to it because it remembers the connection. You can hide your network in your church also, but only say the pastor's iPad when he's preaching can connect to it, and that's the only thing that's on it. But if someone comes in and they just want to connect because they want internet, they can connect to a public, and it has nothing to do with anything else hasn't to do with the church outside of just a signal coming in. All right. And I say that's probably the most important thing that you're going to have to understand now that we're in, well, we've already been in a digital age, but now we're past the digital age where we're in that age where everything is remote access. So the public, like I said, I walk in, oh, look, Antioch Baptist, ABC 123, boom, I connect to it. I can go here, there, wherever. And with that, you can limit to what they can surf if you want. For VPN access, we were discussing this when the tech team and Sister Foreman wanted me to bring it up briefly. So a lot of you are probably working from home during the pandemic and had to connect to your office. And you had this IT person send you an email and say, hey, click this, download this, put this in, and you can connect to your office. That part is VPN access. So, and I'm going to try to explain it where you don't get lost, because trying to explain VPN access, if you're not too familiar with it, you will get lost. So basically, it's just a tunnel from your house to your job where you can access whatever you were doing while you were sitting at your desk, like you were still sitting at your desk in the office. So I'm here and I need to access something on my job's network that I can't access from home. But if I connect to this VPN, I can access it just like I was sitting in front of my desk. So you can either access your PC, depending on how your IT person has set it up, or you can just access everything from home. The VPN access is good if it snows or if you don't feel well. You can do everything, for churches. It's better. I know a lot of people might use TeamViewer. TeamViewer is okay, but a lot of companies and firms, they don't like to use it to connect to it when they're sensitive files or someone might access it or something. They'll tell you have to have VPN access. So some type of VPN access is just two main ones are when they're configured. There's a VPN access where your IT will set it up, you connect to it, and you're still able to look at Facebook on your laptop. You can watch Netflix as you're working, whatever, because it still gives you internet access from where you are. Depending on your job, they can set up the VPN access where you have no internet whatsoever. Everything gets cut. So if you're watching Netflix and you connect to your job's VPN, and it's that strict where there's nothing coming in, it will sever every connection that you have, and the only thing you can do is work from your laptop to your office PC. Every company, every IT person, every IT group is different, so that just depends. The last thing I want to bring up about the network, and this is very important for churches, because now a lot of churches are using credit card swipes on their network. So this is a lot. Companies use what's called PCI encryption. So basically what it is I swipe my card, and as it's going over the internet, it turns everything that's from the amount of money to my credit card information to my name to whatever gets turned into junk. By junk, I mean that it can't be easily pulled. Data is never fully 100%, unpullable. It just takes time depending on who you use. So whereas, and this is what I mean when churches that you just have stuff coming in and you haven't secured your network. So I come in and I swipe my card on a wide open network and someone's sitting outside. So now they've gotten all my information. So I've did tithes for $50, put my tithes in just like the Lord said. And now I go home and I get an alert that my card has been used in California to make a $5,000 purchase for something else. Minutes from the time that I use in church. And, you know, you can stop that, but if you're not careful, you'll lose that money. But a lot of banks give it back, you know, based on what happened. But believe it or not, you are liable, pastor and trustees, sometimes for this, because your network wasn't secure enough to scramble data, especially sensitive data like that. Not everybody is of the church, and even those within the church have to protect their interests. So I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. You know, it 100% has happened at churches, not any churches that I know, but I'm sure it has happened. So when you have internet coming in, these are some of the things and questions that you need to ask in order to make sure that your church is safe. Streaming is fun. Streaming is great. It's fantastic. But just like, and I put it to the pastors and the trustees, just like you're protecting your flock with you know, ministry and things of that nature, you have to protect your flock from things like this. People pulling information, getting card information, birth dates, addresses. You know, you have to try and secure your church as best as you can secure it, especially when it's data and personal information involved. Like I said, this is probably the most condensed version of securing your network and trying to make sure that that your church is safe outside of you know, the pandemic that's going on. And you know, it's and your network is just like COVID. The minute something gets in, it's going to take a lot to get it out. And if you don't have anything in it and nothing protecting you from it, the minute it gets in, you're stuck. And it's going to cost you a whole lot of money to correct that issue. So if you're there now and you have someone in your church that can say, hey, or even a company, or you know, say, hey, my church needs to be secure. I have to make sure that my congregation does not get zapped for something weird. And you'll 100% be okay. Not everything is 100%. Even the vaccine is 95, 99%. But it's something that you need to do in order to protect yourself and your congregation and your congregants from the outside world. So like I said, this is the best I can give to you without boring you so much and explaining things that might go over some of your heads. So I'm more or less done, and I did a whole lot more talking than I thought I was going to. So yeah, so I'm gonna end my slideshow, and then I'm gonna present it back.
Okay, we thank
Yeah.
our brother Keith Boone. There were just a couple of questions. One is, how do you have two networks? Do you pay different companies or the same company?
Okay, so you can pay the same company. When I said segmenting your network is basically, and if you bought a router or if you have one that you purchased in the last, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years, you can actually go into it and you can see what I'm talking about. I wish I had done pictures, but I'm not good with PowerPoint. So when I say segmented, and you can go in and, okay, so let's just say that you have one router and you want to segment it. So on the one side, I have all my church equipment. It gets split into a network ID, network IP address, and that's tech lingo, of 10 dot blah 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 blah. That's all my church stuff. You split that network, and then on the other side, you say, okay, well, I want this public. This doesn't matter, and the generic IP address for public is 192 dot blah 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 blah. So you're using one router, but you're not paying the company. You're not paying the company for two different. It's the same line coming in. All you did was just split the line, the internet you have coming in, so it's on two different networks. The only cost in that, if you have someone come in, is the cost of them setting up the splitting of the network. That's it. You're not paying twice as much for two different networks.
Okay. Also, with most companies. I know that our church uses Spectrum, that they also gave us a separate modem that's free for access for our church members, that we give them that internet access for that. And then uh, the main network that we have on our church is used for business purposes, whether it's in the office or the media that I use for Sunday mornings or whatever. No one is on that network, um, but the modem that they put in, actually right in the sanctuary, is for public use. So uh, cable companies will do that for you as well. It's like having a hotspot, like when you're able to connect to a Spectrum someplace else or Verizon someplace else when you're not at home. It's the same thing that they use that. It's not very secure, but it is what the public uses. Okay, so we thank Brother Keith Boone. The Spectrum special rates for businesses apply. Yeah, they do have different rates for businesses. For all of them, really, you can get a business account versus a personal account. So we thank Brother Boone for that. Now I know we have just a short amount of time. I wanted them to be able to go first and I go last because I am going to be teaching for the Congress of Christian Education. I mentioned that in the beginning. On the brochure, it says Dr. Chanel Turpin, but she will be unable to teach for that week. So I'm going to take her place and I'm going to cover a lot of different things during that week. So that's why I wanted to go last, because whatever I don't do tonight, I can also cover during that week. But this is one thing that so there are a couple of things I want to do in these last few minutes that we have. I want to go over some of the other platforms that are out there. I won't be going into a lot of depth like Sister Alex did with Be Live. We wanted her to do Be Live because that's one of the few platforms that I see people using, but it is a good platform for some people. And then the other thing that I want to do, I hope that I can get in, is to be able to demonstrate editing a video. I'm not sure if I'll have time to do that or not. And then we also have a survey that we want everyone to be able to fill out for the week. We'll email the survey out as well, but we're going to put the link in the chat so that you can do the survey, and so that we can hear from you. So as we mentioned before, technology is always changing, always changing. Uh, Next week there'll be something else out, and every time something new comes out, we try to keep up with it to see what's out there. I jot it down. I might shoot a text to our tech team and say, hey, has anybody heard of this platform? Has anybody used this before? Do anyone know anything about it? And we try to share information with each other. None of us, not one person, knows everything. That's why we have a team, so that we can share information with each other. And as we mentioned earlier tonight, with Dr. Turpin had went over Zoom. And then there's also what we're doing right now is a Zoom meeting, but there's also a thing called a webinar. Webinars allow you to have more people to be on, but it gives more of a classroom feel, a lecture kind of feel. You can control it better. You can have your webinar set up where you just have only your panelists, those that are on for the night. Like right now, we have all 88 people showing up on your screens right now. On the webinar, everyone can be muted except for your panelists, so that you don't have a lot of chatter going back and forth. And it's more of a formal presentation that is being made. There's also Microsoft Teams. Some of the schools are using Microsoft Teams. Some of the companies are using Microsoft Teams as well. Microsoft Teams, it comes with, if you have Office 365, then you also have Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a part of your package. Even within Empire, all of our officers who have accounts or should have accounts or will have accounts by the time we get through updating everything. You also have Microsoft Teams where you can have meetings and get together with your auxiliaries to be able to meet together in your churches. You can have your ministries to have Microsoft Teams where they can have large or smaller meetings. It works just similar to the way Zoom works. You can have breakout rooms. You have your videos going. You do your presentations just like we're doing right now. But here's the thing: Microsoft Teams is also free um, to most of to well, you can get a free account for just about all of these platforms, but Teams is something that we should really try to use more often, especially because we don't have to go out and buy a Zoom account, a pro account, to be able to have the features that we have with Zoom. um, each of the platforms have they offer different things. So some have pluses, some have minuses. As Sister Alex had said before, that with Microsoft Teams, it's available to us, especially on Empire. And I would encourage our ministries to go in and explore Teams to be able to use, especially if you don't have a pro account, that will give you more flexibility with your meetings and your presentations, as opposed to having a free Zoom account where you're limited to 40 minutes when you have a free Zoom account. And then there's also GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting is another platform out there for online meetings. Now, why am I saying all of these other different platforms when just about everybody in their grandmother's church is using Zoom right about now? It's because Zoom is not the only platform out there. It's a good platform. Zoom has made a lot of improvements in the past year. When we started in this pandemic, the problem and issue that I had with Zoom was its security issues. If you can reflect back to a year ago when Zoom was everybody was popping up with Zoom, the schools were using Zoom, but kids were being bombed, Zoom bombed with pornography. Um, yes, you can put the survey in the chat. With pornography and all kinds of other things, people exposing themselves. Uh, um, they were being hijacked, from other people. Uh, and that's the one thing people always say, oh, I've been hacked. Zoom was being hacked a lot in the beginning, and that was one of the issues that I had with it. But they have made a lot of improvements over the years, especially when it comes to the security. GoToMeeting is another platform that was used when we first started in the pandemic. I already had a GoToMeeting account. It was one of the accounts that I used when I taught computers in the life of the church. And the other reason why I chose GoToMeeting when we had first started was also that Zoom, you got 100 people on for a pro account, and it costs, what was Zoom? Zoom is $15 for 100 people. And GoToMeeting, we had charged $16 a month, but I was able to get 250 people on. And for our congregation, when we first started, we needed to get more than 100 people on. Yes, with Zoom, you can get more than 100 people on, but you have to pay an additional $50 to get a large room that will allow you to have 500 people to be on Zoom. So, this account that we have with the technology team, we have a large room account since we started doing these conferences and classes and things like that. But we have to pay an additional $50 in order to get that large room. There's also Cisco from WebEx, which mostly businesses use. And also mostly businesses use GoToMeeting. Uh, it's more of a business platform. None of these platforms were made for us to have church. That's just the bottom line to that. But as we go along, because the churches are using it, and because the churches are paying for this, that they have made adjustments to accommodate some of the features that we may need. And then there are less formal platforms that are out there when you have small groups, and that would be groups like Facebook Messenger Rooms. It's fairly new. I'll say about it's less than a year old. It came out after the pandemic hit. Once the pandemic hit, everybody was trying to come out with a platform for you to be able to use. So if you have a smaller group, you don't have 100 people that you're doing small uh, prayer meetings or small Bible studies or just group chats, meetings, auxiliary meetings, and you don't have a paid account with Zoom, but you need more than 40 minutes to do an account, you can use Facebook Messenger Rooms. And then there's also Google Hangout Meets, also the same on the same level as the rest of them. And then there was Skype for Business. Skype for Business was what most of our businesses were using before all of these other things came out and became popular. But Skype for Business has become Microsoft Teams. So Teams is going to take over Skype for Business, and Skype for Business will go away. uh, Microsoft has given people time to be able to make that transition from Skype for Business to Microsoft Teams, and so you still have a little bit more time if you're still using Skype for Business, but it is also Microsoft Teams. So I would encourage you to try other platforms, because here's the thing. There were a few Sundays where people were on Zoom. And here's the thing, when you have a whole bunch of people all across the country trying to get onto Zoom to have morning worship on a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock a.m., it's bound to fail you at some point. And there were a few Sundays where people had problems getting onto Zoom, and they had to change the time of their service and they couldn't get on. And they had no backup. So they had to wait until Zoom was up and running again. Um, those Sundays that Zoom were down, we didn't have the issue because we were on GoToMeeting. And even if GoToMeeting had an issue and they were able to go on, we couldn't get on a Sunday morning. Guess what? I have a Zoom account. I can bounce between Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and GoToMeeting, and we can shoot out notifications to our churches to let them know that we're having technical issues, that we are going to alternate on this Sunday, and instead of meeting on GoToMeeting, we would like everyone to use this link to go to Zoom. So you have options out there so that you don't think that Zoom is the only thing that's out there, even though Zoom has made some great improvements over the years. I mean, over the years, over the months that we've been in this pandemic with. And then there are all of these live streaming platforms that are out. Someone mentioned about StreamYard. There's podcast, there's Restream, uh, webcast. There's just so many different ones out there. This is Castro. Uh, we already talked about Be Live. There's Switcher Studio, VMix, Vimo, Livestream. Vimo and Livestream have become one. That's why they're up there together. Uh, there's OBS that Reverend Turpin talked about, which is the same as VMix. VMix is a paid subscription that you have. OBS is free. And Reverend Blackburn also talked about OBS when he did his session. You can go directly live from YouTube, but YouTube has changed its policy that you have to have 1,000 subscribers in order to go live to YouTube from a mobile device. You still can go live to YouTube, but you would have to go through RTMP. And I know you don't know what that means. A lot of people don't know what that means, but it means that you have to actually be at a desktop, logged into YouTube in order for you to go live to YouTube from a mobile device. You can go live from Facebook directly to Facebook Live. This is a new one that came out not too long ago, Melon. Uh, there's just so many different platforms out there. Which is the best? That depends on what your needs are. Um, can you put those names in the chat box? Okay, for everyone will get a copy of this video that is registered for this class so that you can be able to go back and look at it and get all of the different names. Uh, one of the things with StreamYard or Switcher Studio or BeLive or Castro or any of them is the interaction that you can have with um, with the audience when you're going live to Facebook or to YouTube. It gives you the ability to go live to a lot of different platforms that you will be. You can go Facebook, YouTube, to your website, to TV Roku, which Bishop Luda mentioned about last week, or to Periscope, which is a Twitter uh, 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 account. You can do all of these different things, and it can become cumbersome. Which one should I choose? Well, I would recommend to you to look on all of the different sites, and the prices are more or less around about the same for most of them, but they have different features. Uh, Sister Alex mentioned that you can get 4 people on BeLive, but you can get more than 4 people if you use vMix. You can get 8 people on vMix if you have the vMix. I think it's the vMix Pro that you can get a lot of people on. Guests that you can bring in from someplace else in order for them to be in your live stream. Your guests or people that are watching you from Facebook, when they type something in, it will scroll at the bottom and it will pop or have a pop up with your comment that Brenda K. Foreman said, "Oh, that's a great idea," like that. Uh, or you can, like I said, so many different things. This one right here with the Mevo, that's one of the ones that I use. One of the things that I have done since this pandemic has happened, I have teamed up with funeral homes, and I do live streams of homegoing celebrations. And I don't use this particular Mevo camera. I use the Mevo Start, and it is a part of the Vimeo family, and it has a Mevo producer is the name of that one. With all of these things that you can put down lower thirds, that things scroll across the bottom of your screen, or you can put up different things in the corner if with your hymns, your scriptures, and things like that that you want to be able to use. And another thing that some of our churches do that you have to decide, Reverend Blackburn mentioned that as well. What do I want to do? Do I want to go live directly, or do I want to pre record and then premiere videos on YouTube and Facebook or LinkedIn or someplace else? And that is the difference with pre-recording and premiering it. It gives you the option that if there's a mistake, and Reverend Blackburn mentioned that as well, if you make a mistake during your recording, that's something that you can fix and edit later. uh, and so we want to be able to make changes or to add something, or okay, we wanted to have someone to be able to speak but they weren't here when we did the recording. We can edit it and add them in later, and then have it uploaded to YouTube or Facebook so that it can premiere at a certain time as if it was live. So those are some of the options that we can do, that we can have. Um, and I know that the time is drawing now, but I just want to show you one other thing. And I promise you that if you sign up for Computers in the Life of the Church, with the Congress of Christian Education that I will go through this more thoroughly. But one of the things that um, when you're doing premiering of your videos or you're pre-recording, that you be able to make adjustments, is to use a video editing software. There's some that are out there that are real complicated, but this one is a very easy one to use. You can get it from your Windows App Store, and it's HD Movie Maker Pro. I believe there's a small fee if you get the Pro. There's a free version, but you're going to want to pay. I mean, it's like what, $15, $20. I don't remember how much it was, but it's a small fee just to upgrade to the Pro. And I can go in here and create a new project. Um, as it's spinning, trying to create a new project. And it's probably because I got too much going on my computer, because never has it buffered like this before. Okay. And anyway, so it gives me that option to be able to 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 um to do it. I'm not sure if you can see just through the shadows that we can convert videos, we can rotate it, we can create a CD, uh, we can extract audio, trim it so that if there's something in the video that you want to take out of the video, you would use the feature to trim a video, to split a video, to be able to insert something into the video, another video that's not there. You can do that as well. To join two videos together, to add visual effects, emotions, and things like that, you'll be able to do that as well. As usual, there's always some kind of technical difficulty trying to do something. But I did want to try to show you that, but it's not cooperating with me right now. And we are at the 8:30 hour. Um, so um, I hope that we were able to share some information with you when it comes to live streaming. I also, is President Washington on before I move on to something else? Okay, I don't see him or Vice President Taylor. I just want to make sure I'm not overlooking them. But I just wanted to thank them for this opportunity for us to be able to have made this presentation over the last 3 weeks to you. Again, you should have already received the links for the prior two videos. And shortly after today, not tonight, but you'll be able to get the video for this session for tonight as well. Let me stop this because it's slowing down everything here. Um, Close window. Okay, so we hope that we have been able to share some valuable information with you. Again, um, technology is such a vast topic to be able to cover, and which is one of the reasons why we decided to break it down into segments. After the Congress of Christian Education is over, and let's not forget, if you haven't registered for that, we ask that you register for the Congress. And if you would like to have more information on technology, you can do so during that week. And after that, I believe after the semi-annual, we don't have a date as of yet, but as soon as we get a date, we will let you know. The next presentation, I believe that this team is going to be presenting, will be on PowerPoint. And PowerPoint can take up many weeks to be able to do, but we're going to try to see if we can crash it into 3 or 4 weeks to cover some of the things that you would use in conjunction with your live streaming, or what you use with Zoom, or how to create PowerPoints, and some of the tricks that you would need, and some of the different things that you can do with PowerPoint. And as good as I thought that I was at PowerPoint, I went to become a certified Microsoft Office specialist and then a Microsoft expert. And when I was doing the PowerPoint, I learned some things that I didn't know. So there's always something that you can learn that you may not know right now. Um, and So we hope to be able to do that. At that, with that, we're past the 8:30 hour, but if there are any pressing questions that you have, short questions that we can answer right now, I'm going to open the floor for that. But we're also going to ask that Reverend Turpin has put the link into the chat for our survey. We ask that you please take the time to fill out the survey because that is going to help us as we continue to bring information to you and to be able to present different things to you, what we can do better, what we can cut out, what we can, make those kind of adjustments. Um, for the future, in very near future. And remember, I said we're going to be doing the summits throughout 2021. So with that being said, are there any short questions that we can answer on tonight? You can unmute and ask your questions.
Does HD Movie Maker work on Macs? Mac TV or computers?
I'm not quite hearing you. You're asking about the HD Movie Maker?
If
Yeah.
it works on Mac computers.
Oh, this is a Windows program. You actually download it from the Windows Store. But there are others out there. You can use Adobe Creator, has video editing software within their program as well.
You wanted something that is compatible with Mac other than iMovie. Bishop Luter mentioned DaVinci. So I would look into DaVinci. They have a free version that is available.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions? Okay, again, we thank you so much for joining us with our Technology Summit. I know that we had a great time presenting to you. I'm just going to bring back up my team. Why is it that I can't seem to add the spotlight? Oh, there we go. We're going to ask them to come back up so that you can see the team that we have, this great team that we have. What happened to Lori? Lori left?
I'm right here.
She's there. I
Okay,
pinned
there
her.
you go. Okay. And Keith, he doesn't have his video on, so we can't add
No,
him.
I actually
You
turned
got
my
it on?
video on this
Oh,
time.
okay, there we go.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is our tech team. And if you can see, our Dr. Chanel got us our tech support shirts that we're all sporting on tonight. Keith
I didn't get mine.
his, yeah.
No.
Okay, and so
Must have been a snowstorm.
and so we thank them for their hard work. This is a great team to work with, and I want you to be able to see them because it's not just me that is here. That we are all here for you for the Churches of Empire. That you can contact us. We're spread across the state. We have two more that are not on tonight, and that's our brother Jay Parrish Wright and our sister Shandle Washington. And so when we go back to meeting in person, and I know that some of us can't wait for us to be able to meet in person again. I'm hearing that it might be in August, and we'll see what happens. But that is one of the things that we're going to be preparing for as well as to what is the best platform out there that is best for Empire to be able to live stream once we have our meetings. That when we come back together, we all have our own opinions. Keith likes Switcher Studio, you know, Zariah likes Be Live, and I don't know, Dr. Turpin and I, we mess around with OBS, which is complicated enough as it is. You know, Brother Jay, he does VMix. So we all have something that we share with each other, and we're grateful for that. And we're thankful um, for the team that we have. And again, we thank you for joining us. And with that being said, and I still don't see President Washington, so we're going to go ahead on. We're going to ask our Deacon Lori Tate to pray us out on this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity to come together and study and about the tools that you've given us. Lord, bless everyone in every household that's represented. Bless every ministry that is represented here. Lord, let them be able to digest the information that was presented here and use it for your glory. And these things I pray until we meet again. Amen.
Amen. And I promise you, I will edit a video when we do Computers of the Life of the Church, step by step. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Great
God
job.
bless everyone.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night. God bless. Great job.
Thank you.